Nerd on the Podcast is proudly partnered with Apogee Electronics and Odyssey Headphones, leaders in the field of audio.
And I wrote down the house as a character. What is, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast you didn't need but you deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. When things go bump in the night, there are few people you call. In the DC universe, that person is the Hellblazer himself. That's right. Today, we are talking about the show that dives into the occult. That's right. NBC's one and only season of Constantine. I'm so excited for this, guys. I'm so friggin' pumped. Before we get into everything, my name is Corey.
My name is Tom.
I'm Caitlin.
My name is Ollie.
And I am Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks, like you get early access to these episodes. You get bonus episodes that nobody else hears, where we talk about all sorts of fun stuff off the cuff, and sometimes it's not even nerdy related.
Sometimes
just happens to go that way. You get discounts on merch.
Haircuts.
You
nerdy
get
things are it's it's all relative.
Yeah.
So
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, lots of really fun benefits. So check that out, nerdon.tv/Patreon. And check out our Discord that is hopping all the time, nerdon.tv/Discord. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get secret servers on there that only you have access to. But yeah, it's a fun community over there that's growing all the time. So do check that out. And a big shout out to our partners, Apogee and Odyssey. Apogee makes these wonderful microphones that we are using. And for example, Corey is out of town and was able to just put it in its fancy carrying case and just take it with him.
plug and play, baby.
Yeah. And so I dig the microphone. If you are a content creator or looking to, it's even like some of us are even using it when we're gaming and all that kind of stuff. So,
oh man, D&D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
D&D all the time.
Or if you just want to talk to your friends on Discord.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good microphone. I'm just gonna say that it's super good, easy to use. You can even plug it into your phone, your mobile device.
I did that this week. I had a little FaceTime. I'm here with my grandpa, and we had a FaceTime with the family. And I was like, you know what? So we're both not like talking into this little phone. I just lightning cable right into the phone. We're set to go.
Boom.
Also,
Bringing
acting
people
self-tapes, even better than a lav mic, by far. Trust me, because I tried.
And then Odyssey, they make these headphones that we are currently using, the LCD ones, super comfortable, sound great, and if your ears were mouths, they taste like butter. It's official. Put a trademark
TM.
on it.
Yeah.
It's that is an official phrase. And
What a
they
phrase.
also make a really fantastic headset called Mobius that I use for my gaming headset, but it's also a 7.1 headset, and so I've actually mixed some surround sound movies.
It's a lot of points.
Yeah, it's a lot of points in your head.
Yeah.
But, it's super good.
More than 5.
Good stuff. So check out them Odyssey headphones, and that, my friends, is the housekeeping. Let us get on with the episode.
Let's go to hell.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, hey, calm down. The algorithms of stupid people. So everyone, we're doing the show. This is kind of like a 2-for-1 because 1, Corey loved this show, and then 2, Boone loved this show. We still always recommend if you want us to do an episode, send it over to our internet email. Also check our website, and also just suggest it on our
If you go
Discord,
onto
baby.
our website, there's a contact form that you can select in a little drop-down menu, topic requests, and you can send them over, and we save all of them, and we refer to it every time we make our content calendar. We check it and go, oh, let's do that thing.
Yeah, a year later. So
Shout out to
doing
the
it. We're doing it now. And we're doing it proud, baby. So the
Yes.
first things first, we're going to
Absolutely.
go into our first 2 segments of the show, because at the end of this episode, we are going to have to rate it because it technically is a quote unquote finished thing. In my head canon, it's not. I have faith and belief and hope.
Me too, man.
That it'll come back as an HBO Max series.
Hanging on
which
to
will
that
be-
Constantine and Swamp Thing dream.
It would be baller. I'm just saying.
Shout out to
J.J.
Barry.
Abrams apparently in May, we all talked about in the update. He's going to be producing a Justice League Dark show. So we'll see. But that being said, that brings us to our first segment of the show where we are going to
Guess that
Grump.
Or girl, person.
Constantine.
I just
That was actually
I just wanted
pretty
to
good.
speak Latin for the last. Do the
If-
whole thing.
if
Wow.
anyone has watched the
Yeah.
Constantine TV show, I never skip the intro.
It's so
'cause
good.
It's good.
Mm-mm.
It's a really good.
Yeah, it's good.
The music.
It's not long, though.
Well,
And that being said, guess that Grump, if you're brand spanking new to the show, welcome. Where we're going to
and also
go
sorry
around.
for that cacophony of sound.
No, I'm not. I'm
Sorry,
never
not
going to
sorry.
apologize for who
Never
I am.
apologizing for being
Um,
original in ourselves.
Yes, Caitlin.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go around the digital screens. If you're not watching those on YouTube, you should be. Where we're gonna guess who is going to have the lowest rating out of the group. No matter how high the number is, from a 0 to 5, the lowest one will be the Grump for the week. So that being said, I always go first, and I'm going to give Josh that quizzitive look to go first this time.
What?
That's what happens when you react
On
to
the
what
spot,
I say.
baby.
That was
That's
the
what
most
happens.
roundabout. I am going to say it is Caitlin.
All right. I think it's going to be Ali.
Mm.
He's like,
Ali, what you got?
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Tom.
C'est moi? C'est soi?
Oh, I kind of
Curveball.
regret my choice now, but I'm not taking it back.
Tom, who you got?
I got money on Ali.
Okay.
I got money on Ali.
I got Ollie.
Can I get in on that?
Wait, what?
Oh no.
Oh,
then
what?
I haven't voted yet, Ollie.
You can't do that, Ollie.
Misdirect. Misdirect.
Uh-huh.
Maybe he was
Um,
texting me how much he liked it during the week and you guys didn't know about it.
Then why
Maybe
would you
I'm the
guess it?
bookie.
Why do I do anything, Corey?
It's true.
Tom likes to win, though.
Why do I do anything?
Tom
Pure
likes to win.
chaotic
Win.
neutral.
To win, generally.
No, Tom likes to win.
I don't
But-
play. I play to win.
I'll mix it up. I'll go Caitlin again.
Run
Just
for
to-
fun.
Just to mix it up. And the Nerd on Nation has spoken.
Ooh, wait, what's up with
Overwhelmingly.
this Neuron Nation? How do they get to be a part of this part of the episode?
What do
Oh,
they
wow.
get? What do they get to
Nice.
be, Tom?
The guess that Grump grass-fed gator grumper guesser.
No.
Grass
That's
fed.
If you would like to
Baby,
be,
you all thought I was gonna stutter that up.
if you would like to be that,
He's not even going to
TM.
try and say it again.
That thing.
the guest grass-fed Gator Gumper,
Wow.
you can join the Nerd On Nation. Head to our Patreon. You get to participate in things like polls, where if you get it right, you're going to get a shout out on the show. So those of you who guess the Grump right, whether it's the majority or the minority, sometimes there are people who only gave a vote here and there have gotten the shout out.
Yeah.
But today the majority have spoken, and it's Ali, which is why I wanted to mix it up a little bit, because that would have been a 4-vote name.
Yeah.
So no votes for me and Josh.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, so we'll go first. Next will be Tom, followed by Caitlin, and then Ali last.
So okay, cool. You keep track of that. So now
Oh, I
we're going
will.
with a complete spoiler of that. Call that the Constantine guest. Okay, no, sorry.
Oh,
I
no.
can't.
Oh man,
That was so terrible.
breaking my heart. I'm sorry, Boom.
So we're going to go ahead and do our first impressions and our initial reactions. A little bit of a spoiler of that last segment. So we're going to talk about when we first watched said thing, whether it was very recently or when it first came out. And for me, it was right when it came out, because this was back in the day. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So what happened was when I watched this, so Arrow was like starting out in CW and they called it the Arrowverse. And if you'd watched Arrow season 1 and 2, you're like, this is pretty much the Dark Knight. It's like they just tried so hard to be the
You
Dark Knight,
failed the
which you know
city.
what? It fucking worked. And
It took me.
they destroyed, ratings, and they created a universe out of one TV show, out of a guy with the arrow. Anyway, so Constantine. I had moved to LA at this time and started watching because at this point, shows were starting to pop out. It was like superhero shows. Netflix was like, oh, what if we did like Daredevil, but it didn't suck? And then they were like, okay, let's do it. And so when Constantine came out, it was like Fox had Gotham, and we were like, but what? I thought it was for CW, and you find out that WB actually likes to play with other studios. So they end up having NBC, which is a very common thing. You'll see in the show notes that like Warner Brothers Television has like so many licensed shows on different networks, and that's like a very commonality thing. So with Constantine being on the show, it was like interesting because we had all experienced, at least most of us on this episode, for the listeners, I don't know, experienced Constantine before, and as much as we loved him,
Keanu Stintine.
Keanu Stingator.
Come on.
Watching this was like, okay, cool. He looks more closely to what the comic books look like, and for
Acts like it.
the comic book fanboys were like, oh, it looks great, it's going to be great. And then for me, I'm like, well, we'll see if he is actually British, and he has like the punk rock background and all that stuff. And the show checked off all those check marks, and it was like, this is their attempt. And I'm a big fan of David S. Goyer's work. And so hearing that he was going to be show running this, I was like, cool. Like, this is the guy that did Batman Begins and Dark Knight. Then, we're kind of in safe hands. And he had been show running shows or like starting up shows with Berlanti for a while. And I enjoyed it. And then when I heard like by episode 2 or 3 that it was already canceled, I was just like, no. It was just coral all day. So that being said, I enjoyed the run.
Coral Stintine.
But the interesting thing, like just in retrospect, it was hard for me to remember as I was watching it again for the show, remembering what happens in said episodes. Like, I was like, okay, this happens, that happens, this character's here, that character's that. We learn about this, that character makes an appearance. And I remember like, okay, this character has a big twist at the end. And I was just like, huh. And I've totally, like, as I was watching it again, I was like reliving it in a good way where I was like, I remember enjoying the vibe, but not remembering the exact story points. So I enjoyed my time watching this film. Oh, this show.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna if I'm gonna piggyback off you because mine's kind of the same. Where I watched it when it was out, and we were talking about it at the time, and I had the same kind of vibe where I've watched it one other time since, but it had been pretty much right after it aired. I kind of watched through it with my wife Dana so that she could experience it as well. And of course, I was heartbroken when it was announced that it was canceled, and there was Twitter outrage, and Tom can go into this later, but even Stephen Amell was like, let's do something about this, threw his weight around. But I had the same time rewatching it where I was like, I remembered some key points, but the nuances in between, I got to kind of relive those as I watched it. And I forgot some big chunks. Like, I forgot some big twists partway through the series and stuff like that. And just overall enjoyable. Like, Matt Ryan is
electrifying.
Yeah, like he, I have some shout out to Pat and Jim, a couple of friends of mine who have been reading it since it came out, the first few comics, and he's a huge Hellblazer fan. And he always said that the Constantine movie was a great noir film, but it's not a Constantine film. And he was like, and this was finally it. And I think that's not a minority opinion, obviously, because Warner Brothers keeps using him not only in live action stuff, but in animated things too. Like, that's how much he is this character. And I really did enjoy seeing that, there's little glimpses of the punk rock background, whether it's some few flashbacks or there's even that photo where he's got like the green and pink spiked hair and stuff like that. So yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed. I don't think there was a single episode where I was like, I could have skipped that. Which is, that's the upside to only having 13 episodes is you kind of get to pack them all filled with the stuff you wanted to tell. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of 13 episode shows where I have skipped a few. So, I think everyone in it's pretty great. And I'm a huge, the actor who plays Manny, Harold, I never pronounce his name, Josh. Perrineau?
Harold Perrineau.
I
had to look it up.
He's fantastic. I always say Portnoy for some reason. Portnoy.
Portnoy.
Harry Portnoy.
So yeah, I shout out to Matt Ryan because I love that guy.
He kills it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say for there, and we'll go.
I'll go next. My first experience of this show was preparing for this episode. I did not see it when it came out. NBC, I think, was just a channel that I didn't have at the time, and any sort of like streaming thing that I had at the time, and so it just kind of passed me by. But in watching this show, I really dug it. I dug it a lot, and I don't have a lot of experience in terms of reading Constantine.
Anything?
I don't read. I can't read. No. I have very limited
What are
experience.
words?
What are
man.
words? What do
Don't
I do
know.
with my
Couldn't tell you.
hands? So my only like experience with Constantine the character was like he's in the current lineup for Deceased. He's been a spattering in other things, like he's been in things, but he's just like a side character. He's not. I haven't read Constantine. But one thing that I experienced in terms of my initial reaction of watching this show, and I know that this isn't an original idea, but it was definitely on the wrong network. Like watching this, I was like,
Oh yeah.
Well,
and the
also-
time slot they gave it was
yeah,
shit, man.
Friday
And
night,
they
8
moved it.
p.m. on NBC is where you send shows to die.
yeah.
Oh.
And so when I was watching it, because I have a lot of experience with CW shows, I was like, this should have been on the CW, and it would have
Killed it.
Killed.
It would have killed it. Like there were
100%. It's
there
so
Would have
were-
already had a reboot by now.
there were aspects of the show that I was like, I had to remind myself that this wasn't a CW show, because there were things about it, like even some of the special effects, even the look of it, some of the acting style. I was like, this isn't a CW show.
That's what
Like-
I was thinking too. Like the whole time I was like, this is CW. No, it's not.
But this could
Oh.
have done like, I love this show. So like when it ended, I was like, no, like that's no.
Yeah, man.
No.
Constantine.
I'll let you borrow a couple of I have a few Hellblazers that I think are pretty
I
great
love
to
that.
start on.
I would love that. But yeah,
Glad to hear you liked it, man.
No, I dug it. And with my limited experience of the character of Constantine, Matt Ryan, like my imaginings of what it might look like live action or be like live action, I was like, fuck yeah, this guy.
He's Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man.
Huh?
He's Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man to it.
That's a good yeah.
And like
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds to Deadpool.
Yeah.
Ollie, Caitlin?
Ali.
I can go. I don't have a ton of experience with Hellblazer or Constantine either, just the movie. And even then, I remember the outrage of it being set in LA instead of London or
Mhm.
wherever. That's really my only sort of reference point,
And that he wasn't British.
and that he wasn't British until a couple years ago, where I thought I would start the brave task of consuming the entire Arrowverse. So I got hooked in.
Oh,
well, damn.
I got hooked into Arrow, and I actually made it through to season 5, and I made it through season 3 of Flash. But part of it was the Arrow Constantine crossover stuff. So I really actually I really liked his character a lot right off the bat. And I've also seen Justice League Dark, which I really enjoyed. I love Constantine.
The animated one?
The animated one, yeah.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like my previous knowledge of Constantine going in. And for the most part, it was really enjoyable to watch. I was surprised by a couple sort of aspects of it, like as far as the like how dark parts of it like got actually. And we'll get into sort of the balance of that later, but I really enjoyed it when it, like, the presentation of the show was really good. It, like, there was nothing corny, there was nothing cheesy. The special effects were great. And like their presentation of like occult things and occult ideas, I was like, this is like the staple of, every now and again you come across like a good series that explores these really well, like Supernatural, things like that. And I think this is kind of up there as far as like exploring all the different facets of the occult and different kinds of demons and different kinds of,
For
the
me,
rules with
it's
angels
that
and
it
things like
finds
that.
a really nice in between like hard magic and soft magic rules. Like there are
Yeah.
like if they were to do something outside of the normal, how Constantine would deal with something that wasn't some sort of like either ancient incantation or something, you would know it was off, and they followed that pretty well.
Caitlin?
But yeah.
Oh.
That was my, yeah. That was it.
For me, I had only seen the Constantine movie before with Keanu Reeves. And so that was kind of all I really knew about Constantine. I was like, okay, he fights the demon and he talked to the angels sometimes.
We all
He's got a
Shia LaBeouf
golden
was in that movie
shotgun every
too.
once in a while.
Shia LaBeouf.
I mean,
Shia
that's
LaBeouf was in that movie.
He's
Chaz.
Chaz.
I can't even fathom that was a thing anymore. All I remember is Tilda Swinton stepping on
There's
Keanu Reeves,
great
being
things
like,
about
haha,
the movie,
F
but
you.
this is not the episode.
Yeah.
We could do that someday.
We
It'd be
could.
great.
But so that was kind of all the ideology that I had of it. And then the series was actually the immediate thought process that I have connected to this is Boom. So like kind of my understanding of it is like, okay, what does Boom like? Like, why would Boom like this? And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, everything makes sense now.
Yeah.
Oh, she
Because-
likes
This is your first
everything.
episode, by the way. You've heard us say Boom a few times.
Yes.
Is a close fan of the show. And if you join the Patreon, you know who she is.
Boom Night.
Yeah.
Shout out to the night.
You'd be just as privileged to know her.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's true. But yeah, so when I saw the show, every episode felt like it was only 20 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that in that like there was so much information happening, and when it ended, I was like, no, no, there's supposed to be more. I'm really glad I didn't watch this right when it came out because waiting in between episodes would have been very painful for me.
I'll tell you
I'm
this. I'll
very
tell you this.
impatient. I want to
When-
watch it right then. That's why I like binging content.
I don't know what Corey was doing, but for me, it was getting to a maddening, like where it was like, okay, cool, Arrow's on Tuesdays, Flash is on Wednesdays, and then everyone got them on Thursdays, and boy, look, it's Friday. Like it got to the point where like you're set for like comic book shows, and then like you could binge like a Daredevil on Monday, and then like something else on a
Here's
on a
what I'll
Sunday.
say, and this is blasphemous, I know, to a lot of people. This is the reason I find Constantine so special, is I don't like any superhero TV shows. Usually there's like some sort of something missing for it's a little too soap opera feel in a sense usually.
Oh yeah.
Like I've tried to get into the CW shows and I can't do it. And that's my own thing, my own baggage, and I expect more polish from a TV show than I absolutely should. And
Well,
that's
What are you
on
talking
me.
about?
I made it to-
Lois
I
and
made it to
Clark
season
was a
5.
gem.
Yeah,
I
it was
made it to
very
season
daytime
5,
soap.
let me finish my initial reaction, then we can.
Yeah,
then we
sorry,
can
that's
start pouring
what
into
I
it.
was getting into. So I was with you on that, Caitlin.
Yeah. But once I had watched through everything, of course I had the reaction of, no, I need more of this. How dare you turn this off? And then the shows that it reminded me a lot of, or the movies and shows, was The Pretender, which I don't know if any of you watched that. It was like 90s cheese to the max, with like this super spy guy who was like missed out on his childhood, so he was being childish while also doing super spy guy stuff. And
I
then
didn't watch that.
it's ridiculous.
That sounds like a studio pitch.
But also it reminded me of Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Makes sense.
taking it serious but also being really cheesy. And like you totally understand that like the stakes are really high. Like actually. Pretty much every situation you're coming into is an extreme to the extreme, and there's always a bigger bad on its way.
Rising darkness.
Yeah, and every episode just whizzed by. Like, and not many shows are very good at doing that. There were some overarching things that felt a little slow to me, but it didn't like make me be like, oh, I don't like this episode.
Because it was planned to be a full,
right.
you know,
So many
see,
changes
see,
happened
series.
along the way.
They'd had the time,
and
it
we
would
can
have been
talk
fine,
more
but
about
they didn't.
that.
But yeah, I
So with
liked
that,
it.
so with that being said, now we move on to our next two segments, which are going to be our production and our brief synopsis and then our production. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm going a little crazy.
You're acting like me.
Wow.
If
You
the hair
want
doesn't
to
tell you.
brief synopsis?
So go ahead,
hook
give
you
me
up.
that brief
I can
synopsis.
hook you up with that.
Hit me.
All right. John Constantine,
Johnny C.
a demon hunter and dabbling master of the occult, must struggle with his past sins while protecting the innocent from the converging supernatural threats that constantly break through to our world due to the rising darkness. Balancing his actions upon the line of good and evil, Constantine uses his skills and a supernatural scry map to journey across the nation to send these terrors back to their own world, all for the hope of redeeming his soul from eternal torment.
Pretty good. Sounds about right.
It's about
Also,
accurate.
Chaz and Zed are there.
Yeah.
Also, Chaz and Zed are there.
Yeah.
Florida.
And so now we'll go into the production of the show. The studio distributor production, whatever, was originally on NBC. They gave us such gems such as Law and Order, Dum Dum, executive producer Dick Wolf, Superstore, and This Is Us. The secondary is Warner Bros. Television because they licensed it out. The showrunner, Daniel Cerrone, who best known for Dexter and Charmed and The Blacklist. David S. Goyer, responsible for such shows as Da Vinci's Demons,
Which
Blade,
Charmed?
the series, Charmed, the original.
The original.
Yeah.
Okay.
And upcoming Sandman series on Netflix.
All
The
right.
writers, Daniel Cerrone as well, who helped write episodes for The Mentalist, The Dark Corner, and everything mentioned before. And Rockne S. O'Bannon, who did episodes for Farscape, Alien Nation, and The Twilight Zone. This is the 88 Twilight Zone. Also, Mark Verheiden, Cameron Welsh, Christine Boylan, Sneh Course, Carly Ray, and Brian Anthony, who helped write different episodes. Because it's not all just one writer. The cast: Matt Ryan plays titular character, also known from films such as Layer Cake, Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, and Flypaper.
He's
Lucy
in Layer
Griffiths.
Cake.
Yeah, Layer Cake.
Oh my god.
He's like a junkie.
oh my god.
So Lucy Griffiths, who is in True Blood, Uncanny, and Robin Hood. Angelica Celaya, in Skin in the Game, Castle, and Jenny Rivera, Mariposa de Barrio. Charles Halford from Rectify, True Detective, and Injustice 2. And Harold, what is it, Corey? Perrineau.
Portnoy.
Nope. Perrineau from Romeo plus Juliet, The Matrix Reloaded, and 28 Weeks Later. The release date for this series was October 24th, 2014, and it ran through till February 13th, 2015. 13 episodes, one season. Runtime for each episode is 43 minutes. And the Rotten Tomato score doesn't have how many users said this, but 72% critics and 78% audience. And that is all of the production that we have. So now we move into our favorite parts, favorite characters, our qualms, and then finally our rating. So now we're in spoiler full country, spoiler full territory. I'm going to first say off real quick. There were some things that were things in my brain that was like rattling. That was like, why did these things happen in such a way? And it was actually spurred on through a conversation from Ali. Not really spurred on, but I kind of gave him a little bit of like the info that I picked up. Because I remember watching it and I was talking to somebody. They're like, why is these things?
Right.
Why are
Why are you
this?
the way that you are?
And it was like, why in the pilot of the show we get introduced to a character and she's able to use blood and
Do all the
create
cool
the scry
stuff.
map. And it sets up for the rest of the series, right? It's like, cool, there's 52 spots because everyone was like hot for 52, because 52 is the number of weeks in the year, but also it's the number of comic books they were issuing out, brand new titles. And then after that, she pieces out. And you're like, but why?
Peace.
And apparently the showrunners, when they had shot the pilot, they had introduced all these
They
characters. are
wrote
in
this
the comics.
character, right? They like it was for the show, or is she wasn't in the comics, correct?
I believe she is in the comics.
Oh, okay.
It
I
might
thought
be might have been retroactive. Zed's in the comic books, and then I think this
Yeah.
character is also in the comics. But the way they wrote her was too like, I don't know how to use my powers, and John Constantine's a little too. The way they wrote the characters was like she
Two
would
teacher
be
student like
she would be like kind of victim to
Yeah.
Constantine's like prowess and too subject to his influence, where Zed would be
She
able
would
to,
be the audience surrogate.
yeah, but like in the sense of like there's a lot of back and forth between Constantine and Zed where he's like trying to have her use her powers, or he's like, I'm gonna go alone, and then Zed will just come
Mhm.
up saying like, you don't know how to speak Spanish, like all these kind of things where like she can punch back, where the character that was introduced in the
Liv.
pilot cannot.
Liv Aberdeen.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see. I'm like, why is she not in there? And then like, why is Chaz not in there? Like those kind of things were like, it was just interesting to see how it came to be. And they had told her straight up, and there was a lot of interviews about it. And Matt Ryan and her had been friends, and so there was like those kind of things that were all just like, huh? Like
She's not from the comics.
okay. But so Matt Ryan was saying like pretty much like they had talked after because there's multiple interviews afterwards talking about like why did she leave the pilot, why did she leave the show, and so it was interesting time because a lot of people thought that she just got written off, but it was that the showrunners were just going in a different direction. That's it, and now she's in other shows now. So it's interesting to see, like, at least for me with Game of Thrones in 2020 hindsight, like how pilots change like so dramatically compared to the show. And I think the show
Did
actually
that
benefited
end
from the
this
fact
year?
of, huh?
Did Game of Thrones
No,
end this
that was last year.
Okay,
Last
I
year.
was like,
But then you hear about,
Oh, God.
if anyone
But I
knows
know-
about the Game of Thrones pilot story, this isn't the episode for it.
Yeah, I agree though, Tom. I think it was a good change. I
Yeah.
think the dynamic between Chaz, Zed, and Constantine made for a more interesting watch. That Zed could hold her own, Chaz can hold her own, and Constantine can all hold their own against each other, but they all kind of have the same.
And she also
goal.
brought something to the table that was a lot more like I felt like she had a motivation right from the start versus
Mhm.
I didn't get that at all from her in the pilot.
mhm.
Yeah. Liv would just
So-
been like, I'm here.
She would
Oh,
she would just been
I'm
like
in
I'm
trouble
here, but it's like,
again.
well, what's driving your character?
Yeah.
So yeah, just Zed in herself kind of brings that mystery that you want to sort of uncover over time. Plus, she works really well in the group.
And
Right.
and to that point, she Zed's character, which I really liked, was the one that wants to believe in the quote unquote positive side of all the supernatural stuff. She
Yeah.
wants to believe in angels and destiny and fate. And Constantine's
That
just so
episode.
jaded.
Mhm.
I'll try to segue this into one of my favorite parts. Is actually part of one episode is with this is all spoilers now. Was with the fallen angel.
Yep.
Mhm.
I thought that was
Yeah.
a fucking baller episode.
Oh, that
Yeah.
episode was in.
When John realizes it, he goes, "Wait, you
Yeah.
died and you had not confessed your sins.
Yeah.
That means you weren't going to heaven, bud."
And well, it's just when you see Manny's like, you're fallen. And it's like, oh, damn. And like, the wings turn black. Like, oh, damn.
I was like,
Yeah.
But also just the idea that I love the relics and the reliquaries of the Constantine world. So like having an angel's feather, like, gives you the ability to heal
full
people.
on
but at a
Phoenix
price.
downed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Straight up.
the tears of or the air of Hades, like that kind of shit. Like I love those kind of things where like, the fucking card that like turns to
Oh, yeah.
any card you want,
Oh,
anything
yeah.
you need it to be.
That was cool. That's like if we could pick a favorite gadget, I think it would be the card. For
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Angel wings, angel
wing?
feather.
Not
Angel
the
feather?
No way, dude. Not the
Heal
angel
people
falling.
and then they come back as ghouls in my power.
No, you just
I
go
think they
to
wanted to
any
kill him,
medical
didn't
Yeah, they
facility.
were coming back to kill him to take
Oh, they
the
were coming
feather
back
to the
for the
fallen
wing to
angel.
give it back
Things
to
were
the-
not
Yeah,
gonna go
so-
his way.
That could be a Visa Black card,
Yeah. Yeah, Tom, maybe not the
Maybe
feather.
not that one.
That's all right. I release a blight on the world.
Man,
I love I
Go.
love the scene in which Chaz has the sword and he's like, this is a really cool sword, and he starts going on to this monologue and he's like, yeah. That's the truth sword.
Yeah.
and he's like, "You're a
What does
bad
it do?
friend." It's like, oh, okay, that's enough.
Makes you speak the truth. Not even just tell the truth when you speak, but it makes you speak it.
Yeah.
I ruined my marriage. I wasn't there enough. I'm afraid of losing my daughter, and you're a bad friend. Like, oh, Chaz.
Oh no, man. Speaking of Chaz, though, like when you find out like
How?
his power and like why he's able to die so many times,
Yeah.
it's so
Another good episode.
like tragic, but also you're like, so wait, if you don't die naturally, or if you don't get murdered by like 30 however more demons,
By an electric pole.
then are you gonna live like 300 years?
Just 300?
What I was thinking
Oh,
in my mind, I
3,000.
guess that's a
No,
good
wait.
point.
30?
It'd be like
3,000.
41. Yeah, it's 4,100.
Well, I mean, the average
At
person,
the
right?
beginning, it was 47, but he got down to
39.
31 because he offered.
I'm just
Faust
rounding up to
32.
a 100-year lifespan. So,
Yeah.
but
But like thousands thousands of years if he doesn't get
my
murdered.
brain went darker than that. Is that like if he's old age and he's on his deathbed, he just keeps coming back and dying real quick, like 47
Oh no.
That
I
would be
didn't
the
think about
Constantine
that.
way.
Yeah, I loved that. That's not one of my favorite parts I wrote down, but I loved that all happened because John drunkenly put this old mythological thing
Just
he
to
thought
see
wasn't
if
going
it
to work.
worked.
Not even to see if it would work. He was just like, fuck it.
For magic. Not
yeah,
for science.
and then he's like,
for
oh
magic.
shit. I didn't think that was real.
And it
I was
is,
just fucking
and
with you.
also it worked like a
Yeah.
lot. Haha.
Yeah, like
Oops,
really
sorry,
well.
buddy.
And then him showing the pictures to his daughter and like telling the story of each one, I thought was really special.
Yeah. Because then like the whole
Um,
family appreciates like the fact that he's able to live through all this.
My top favorite part that I picked from the show is, I think, from the second episode when Zed first meets Constantine. Do you remember what's happening? Chaz brings
She
her
bumps
in
into- oh.
and Constantine, what?
Well, when they meet each other for the first time, they bump on the street.
No. When she comes to the like
The
Jasper's house.
to find out who he is, yeah, and he's stark naked,
Oh, yeah.
covered in blood, practicing
Like, dancing
incantations.
around.
Oh, right.
He's practicing incantations and he's just like speaking Latin, just drenched in from head to toe. And she's like, "What the hell is going on?" And Chad's just like, "It's just Constantine. He's just doing his thing. He'll be done soon." That's like burned into my, like, it's such a good representation of Constantine as a character. Is like, doesn't really give, he cares a lot about people, but he really doesn't give a shit about what people think of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's,
You know?
he's trying to do the right thing. Instead
And the
of
right
being-
thing sucks.
Yeah. Instead
It's
of being
hard.
like
It's
an
hard.
order keeper. That is one thing also
Well,
to talk
also
about
being
too.
a little bit of a sleazeball, but not
Well, he's a
enough.
Constantine man.
But I mean, the thing is also just the human. I think he understands the human condition so well, and so like, there's that episode where Manny, takes the form of a human, and it's like, you guys made the rules of these stupid things that is our nature,
Mhm.
But anyway, one thing I did like particularly, was as the showrunners realized the show was going to get canceled, the stepping off of the rule book kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because at first they couldn't show Constantine smoking, and that's why you see him playing with the lighter all the time. Or if you
Mhm.
see a cigarette on thing, he's never
In
putting
the
it in his mouth.
comics, he's got like
He's
lung cancer.
he's always
essentially.
smoking
yeah.
and always drinking, and then they couldn't do that for NBC for broadcasting.
Oh.
And then as they knew, like, okay, cool, it's curtains, like,
We're
have
just
him
doing it.
smoke, have him do whatever it is, and it's like, yes,
Yeah.
we're seeing it finally, what they
Yeah.
wanted to do. Ali,
Because the other thing in the comic books, this is something that listeners might know, and anyone who's not familiar with the comic itself, he is one of the only comic book characters to age in real time as the comic books have come out. So, like, I think in the comic books now, he's in his mid to late 60s.
Whoa.
Because he's in the 8th issue, because the comic book came out in the 80s, late 80s, I believe. He was 35. And so now he's like almost 70. And I'm sure they'll find some way to,
Captain
you know,
America.
in a cult way of reversing time. Lucifer's going to be like, "I'm not done with you." But yeah,
Well done.
he ages in real time, which I thought was so cool. I'd never read something like that before.
Yeah. Ali,
Yeah.
favorite parts?
One of my favorite characters is Jeremy Davies's,
Okay.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it real
Richie Simpson.
yeah, him, his character. So like, basically the episodes that he's in kind of became my favorite. Especially the last one that he's in, that he has to sort of go back in with Constantine. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a really, like, they performed really well. I really liked his character. I think more than anything else, it was really fascinating to me. And then sort of like his decision at the end, I think it was like a good story for that character. I really
The
enjoyed it.
colors in that
Yeah.
episode when he comes
Yeah,
in
when
and
he's
he's
like,
like, you forgot that
like,
you can create,
what
and then
dreams
all
may
of a
come
sudden,
sort of part.
He's like, "You got it. It's not real, bud. It's not real." I like that. I mean, I'm with you on that, Ollie. That character. I mean, a lot of the characters that surround Constantine are there to show you that he used to be this like fun-loving party guy
Yeah.
who like dabbled in magic because it was cool and people liked
Fun.
him for it, and people were like excited to go with John Constantine on some sort of like adventure
And they would meet
until
a
that
ghost.
incident
Until
in
that,
Newcastle, and then he just became this like jaded piece of shit who, probably out of his own anger at himself, kind of like reversed
Made
it
it
on other
worse.
people and was like mean to other
Well,
people
one
because
of
he
the-
hated himself.
One of the fascinating
with
parts of
Barry.
this whole thing was like seeing how all the other characters coped with that event.
Like
and
Richie Simpson taking
Richie.
like drugs every morning, drugs
Yeah.
every night,
Gaz.
drugs through the day. Can't even give his own lectures. Like,
Right. Oh man.
Yeah. Gaz. I mean, that storyline
Oh.
of the
Oh, yeah.
the feeding demon, like the
The
hunger
bugs.
demon. Like I would, I love that. I love that.
There's a little train
character's-
spotty feel, wasn't it?
that's
Yeah.
in the
Very.
comics. He's really stuck with the hunger demon in the comics, which
Yeah.
is,
Um,
I like that they followed that.
my next favorite parts would probably be it'd be the 2 episodes with Anne Marie when they're in,
Mhm.
when they go down to
I got- I do
I
something real
love
quick
get-
for that. Played
Yeah.
by Claire Van Der Boom.
Ah.
So yeah, go ahead.
And
Well done.
credits.
No, and what I loved about that is like the relationship between John and Anne, like getting that history of like it would have been awesome to get more of it, just to kind of like, and just there
I'm
were
sure
some
if there
sweet
was more
moments that you were
show,
like,
we could've.
oh,
They were in love.
If
They were
if
love
there's something that
and-
gets me is like a love story, but also like the love long gone kind of story.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like the acknowledgement. It's like
That's the twist that I totally forgot about when she shoots him in the gutters. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I remember that stuck with me.
whoa.
There's
For some reason,
yeah.
it just passed me up. I get why she did it, and then it led to another one of my favorite episodes, which was him in prison with a demon in him, and him just being like, "I don't want to fight you."
I
guys."
have. I'll share
Some shit's
my
gonna happen.
idea. I have an idea for something, and I'll share it. It'll make more sense later in the episode. But
Okay.
it's about these 2 episodes.
Okay.
Give it-
Yeah, but the moment after he kills the 3 gang guys and he comes out and he's
I
like, "Where
run
is
this
he?" And the
place.
whole crowd just separates. And he's like, "I run
Goes-
this prison."
I was
You're
like,
"Oh,
oh,
damn."
I
Feel
fucking my pants exploded off
You feel it.
myself.
During that scene.
Yeah, I was like, oh yes,
I run this place.
because
I was like,
that's
"Oh shit."
that's the thing. Like he could use all his abilities for evil, and that's
You
the
give me
thing.
your
Where, like
pants.
to me,
You don't
there
want my
is
pants.
that like. I find those characters so much more endearing when it's like they have all the right to be angry at the world, and they
Mhm.
choose not to use their powers for evil, and
Yeah.
it's just like it's. And you know, like putting up with Manny, anyway. So I don't know if we cut off Josh or if Josh was finished with this. Beat.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
sorry.
I'm
Anne-Marie.
used to it. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No,
Hey,
no,
I'm
no.
trying to bring it back.
Yeah, no, those 2 episodes were my. I mean, I mean, anytime actually, I loved Papa Midnight. Like
Papa
his
Midnight.
episodes were a lot of fun.
Life,
The 5th episode, I think it's called Dance Voodoo or Voodoo. I don't know. I
Voodoo?
love that anytime they're kind of quarreling.
Like with the record, and then
Yeah,
later
the
on.
record. The record.
I feel like that's a
episode
Josh
was just-
episode. He's like the
That's-
music.
My other favorite part here is it says when John and Papa Midnight are trying to do the incantations and they just start blaming each other that both
Yeah.
of them are doing it wrong and find they're amateurs, and it leads to them, Papa Midnight gives him the bourbon and he goes, "Just remember our friendship only lasts till the bottom of that drink, so enjoy it." I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh damn." Or the truce. Our truce only lasts till the bottom of that drink. And I was like, "All right."
One thing I really did like. I mean, obviously, I feel like we kind of have to talk about the last episode. The one thing I really like
Annie,
about it
baby.
is 2 things. The 2 things I really like about it are 5 things. And one of them is just that at the end of the day, it's not like a demon and it's not like a ghost or a ghoul or a wraith. It's just humans being terrible people.
Yeah.
And Jim Corrigan, raise the hands. Who knows who Jim Corrigan is?
The Spectre.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, the character. I was like, the actor? I don't know. But yeah, Spectre.
So for people who are listening who don't know what the Spectre is, Caitlin, thank you for being the guinea pig and having the confused face. The Spectre is God's wrath in the DC universe. Like legitimately, there's a God that exists, and this is
Tom,
the
where
wrath
have we
of
seen
God.
him before?
Was he in
The
Kingdom
Spectre.
Come?
Yes, he's in Kingdom Come.
Okay. I was gonna say.
And he's the one who brings
Naked boy.
He's Naked Cloak Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one that brings the old dude around and all that stuff. And so
And he's in the voodoo episode.
he's in 2 episodes. 2 episodes, and I like having him there, and then having Zed have visions of him with the ghastly cloak on. I was just like, if they can do it, like, and that's also the thing too.
They were
like,
going to, man.
at the very beginning, they showed Dr. Fate's helmet, and so it's like the helmet of Naboo, which is like, these are like
a big deal.
the gods of the DC universe, and they're just like hanging out. I'm just like, oh my god, guys.
Anyone?
Can we bring these in? And so just the Spectre is like one of the most powerful entities in the DC universe, and like Dr. Fate is kind of like a notch down. Dr. Fate is like the analog of what Doctor Strange is. I think he comes before Doctor Strange, but regardless, like Spectre would be kind of like a close to like the living tribunal in the sense of like there must be order and balance. If there's not, then I have to come in and intervene. But also like he is God's vengeance. And so like he kind of comes out like this detective story with Jim Corrigan, which I felt like was like a backdoor pilot if they wanted to do a Spectre show. And it's just a little bit more like detective-y, and then but also like at night when like the government system doesn't work and we can't imprison this guy, the Spectre comes and kills him. You know, like that's how it would be. There are good animated shorts of the Spectre on CW if you ever check it out. Anyways,
with him and the like ghosts when Papa Midnight is like raising the spirits and they're like coming back to life. One of my favorite moments was like Chaz gets murdered the first time when he tries to talk to the pretty sad dead lady. And
do you think I'm pretty? Yes.
Yeah. And then he comes back and is finally like,
I'm pretty?
Do you think I'm pretty?
Why is this the first time I thought of asking
why
questions?
is it raining today?
Yeah.
It's like, can you believe it took
why
me
did
this
it
long
take
to
me
start
this long
asking
to
you
figure out you to
questions?
ask you questions?
She freaks out.
She's like,
I love it.
What?
I thought it was
Like,
pretty great.
I loved that a lot. Like, his expressions in that were just perfect. I love that.
Chaz is pretty great.
Also, shout out to the mill, like the Jasper's house, his booby trapped house. I wish we could have gotten so much more of that. We got like the
when Gaz got
taste.
trapped in the anti-gravity.
Yeah, like he got trapped in there, and then there was like the cool meditation room. There was like the what is that in Harry Potter when you fall through the thing? The like,
Flu powder? I don't know what you're talking about.
Like when you like pass through a door. She opens the door and it's like all the mist, and then they just fall into nothingness to their death.
Oh, the abyss, essentially.
Yeah. Like I wish we could have gotten more of that house because there was so much cool stuff in it, and it was basically just like this is where I pull plot help out of. And
Hermione's
then that was kind of all we got out of it. And I was like, no, this house is kind of its own character. Like, why?
For sure, in the
more?
CW world, there would have been a whole episode just in that house.
Oh, I know. That's kind of what I wanted to.
Go watch Supernatural. You'll see the Men of Letters house.
I can't watch Supernatural. I'm going to lose a lot of my life binging the entirety of that show in a very small amount of time.
Well, I'll see you next year.
Bye.
Bye.
It's a good show. I binged through the first 10 seasons.
I want to talk about Manny for a sec. And how much that hurt me. Because first of all, obviously, as I mentioned before, I already had an affinity for that actor and loved him. And so he was on track to be like he still is one of my favorite characters. And then that you find out that he's behind all this, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening?
You work for the brewery.
Because he had these great moments too, right? So like Ali, that moment with like Richie Simpson where they're about to go in, and Richie's like, shouldn't one of us stay out here and like watch over? And Manny's there, and he's like, oh, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so Manny's got his back, and then you had the moment with the fallen angel, but then you're like, what the fuck
But
is
then
this
in the
deal?
episode where he's in a human body, and he gets a little quickie in the little medicine room, but then he's just like, I'm also disconnected from the heavenly force,
Host
whatever.
right now. This is
Heavenly
his
Host.
Amish Rumspringa.
Yeah, and it was like that sense of like that's not how it works. And there is that like he's starting to become human, and then in the next episode it pays off with Zed, and looking for pickles, and it's that whole moment like, do you think your visions are a gift? Then use them. You know, you have the ability of choice.
Yeah,
Us
he has
angels,
so
we
many
have rules.
wonderful moments that you're like, when you
It's
do
hard
get
to-
that
it's hard
twist
to
at the
pill to
end, you're like,
swallow.
no.
Well,
there are a lot of fan theories out there. Have you read those, Tom? Go ahead.
I
Take it
just
away.
know one of them that like it's after the Imogen Fallen Angel episode where he realizes like, oh, like I'm kind of living this terrible like life, and that would kind of cause them to be like, I need to take control of the situation. But if there's other ones, let me know.
There is another one that people think, for those of you who are fans of the Lucifer show, this was before the Lucifer show came out. Lucifer's brother is on the show. His name is, I'm probably pronouncing this because I haven't watched the Lucifer show at all, but they think Manny is a short for Amanadiel, which is Amanadiel, which is Lucifer's brother.
Oh.
And so they think a lot of people think that was going to be revealed. And Lucifer's brother was a warrior for God, but he also has that connection to his brother. So like that could have been, their tie-in to that show there, but it all fell apart, obviously. But there's a lot of speculation that that's what Manny is short for, and that's why he's kind of
playing
behind it all, like a
bit.
neutral, chaotic neutral in a sense.
He's centrist.
But Tom, I've read the one you're talking about, which I like a lot better. It's like, well, I'm going to control it then in that sense and test Constantine and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that one was a hard pill to swallow at the end of that, knowing I wouldn't ever get an answer.
Yeah.
But what if we petition to bring it back?
All right.
It happened.
There's so many changes.
Like,
The
Yeah.
show creator wanted it back immediately, and Matt Ryan retweeted everything, and then Stephen Amell. Tom, if you want to explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so this was what I was like. I was so for the CW and succeeding. Like, again, we don't have to be partisan in terms of like Marvel or DC, but it was just like, how about all of them just succeed? And the thing what Stephen Amell had been doing, so ever since like I think maybe season 1 or 2, like Arrow started popping off really well, and he would always have this like fuck cancer campaign. He would raise thousands and thousands, almost millions of dollars to sell T-shirts and also send it out to foundations for cancer research. And so he became really, really well known on the Facebook world and on social media. He became like probably one of the most followed TV actors during that time. And so when people heard that Constantine was canceled, he tweeted out and made videos saying like, if it gets canceled, CW, hey, bring it back and you could be on one of my episodes. Or no, it's like, no, if you bring it back, then I'll guest star on the first episode. Like he was like, I'll come in. And so what they end up doing, they end up bringing the Matt Ryan character or the Constantine character into Arrow. And that was the first introduction to him. And they did it in one of those, during that time, it was like a flashback episode. So like you met Constantine on Lian Yu, and then also you see him later on. And the first thing he says, like, I need a cigarette, I need a bottle of whiskey, and I need a peacock feather. And then he takes a swig, takes a cigarette, and then he, with the peacock feather, he just scratches it back and then tosses it away. And it's like, fuck you to NBC, which I was like, yo, so
the peacock
baller.
feather, wonderful.
But I want to
didn't
hear,
know that.
I want to hear what Ollie's little plan
Yeah.
was, if this is the right time.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah. So, I mean, this might be sort of dipping into Quam a little bit, but
That's okay. It's a good segue.
One
It's
of my, like, for as much as I enjoyed watching it, one of my biggest critiques for this is that I didn't get a sense of like an overarching, like a strong overarching story that, like, it had a good setup. It kind of had a decent setup, in my opinion, not even a great setup, but a decent setup to get him starting without a clear kind of motivation. It was just sort of like, it was
What
almost
is
as
the
if like,
rising
you guys know,
darkness?
you know that Constantine Redemption, we don't have to talk about it too much. I felt like they weren't quite super on that, but I enjoyed seeing it progress, and Zed, added a lot to it. But I feel like those 2 episodes should have like been the season finale
Oh, the
of this
Anne-Marie
season.
episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that could have
They
helped.
might have been, but
I
switch it all up.
I think not, because I think the series was going to end. The season 1 was going to end at 15 episodes.
Oh.
The episodes got
Yeah.
cut. It was kind of the same thing that happened with Swamp Thing, where it was like, cool, it's going to be 13 episodes. Actually, it's going to be 10. Actually, it's 8.
And only reason I say that is because like it would have helped with the like not having a big bad of the season, sort of, with at least having a big story thing. Because that kind of felt like a finale watching the 2 episodes like that.
It actually, when I had to check, like when I was watching it, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had vague reference of how many episodes there were altogether. And so when I was watching those episodes, I was like, oh wow, is this the finale?
This must be, yeah.
So
And
what's the
then
idea?
I think it would have been great to have season 2 start with episode 10 and 11 and 12. Like, yeah, there wasn't much to it. I just didn't want to necessarily like spoil that it was kind of qualmy.
No.
earlier.
I get that.
So I called it an
And-
idea.
No, I do agree with that, because it did feel pretty like it had a sort
It was
of
just like as
finality
far
to
as
it
like
with those 2.
seasons of shows go.
Well, yeah,
It was like-
the thing about CW shows, they always have like some climactic ending. There's a climactic midway and there's a climactic ending.
Mhm.
Where the show, to me, it's like it got canceled before it even got off the ground.
Yeah.
So like it's not really they can pick and choose their battles. But the thing that I really liked about the last episode, even though it doesn't have like a climactic, we're fighting the devil or we're fighting Michael or we're fighting, you know, comparing it to Supernatural is probably like the closest I can. Like we're fighting the Leviathans, we're fighting the fucking wherever the fuck it is. Crowley this season again. The thing I really liked about it was like to me, I don't know, this is just I think personal, and this is like a slight rose tinted glasses of like it ended off with not a big battle. It was like this sense of like one, Jim Corrigan, a cop, kills a man, quote unquote, in cold blood because of how terrible he is. Two, Constantine is literally kind of faced with something he's never dealt with before. Like he could do everything he can, all the magic stuff, but it's like there's no protocol for his, you know, occult, you know, prowess of like how do we deal with someone who's a serial killer? And then three, you know, we get that big cliffhanger, which is like it felt like piloty in that sense, where like it feels like this could be the season 2
This could be
first episode.
Yeah.
So I get that. But I just
like they did well. Like those last 3 episodes are fine episodes. They're great episodes, and they do feed into the story. Obviously, we learn a lot more about the other characters. But it was just interesting to sort of watch those 2 episodes and how much of it would have like felt like a kind of like a episode, like almost like an episode 9 of Game of Thrones, kind of like here's just everything kind of coming to a head.
Yeah.
Just structurally, I think.
It's supposed to be 26.
Sort of like
Yeah.
Oh
26,
man.
So they lost 13 episodes worth of story they had to cut.
Again, not in their control, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it is that is the product in front of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with
but
that.
yeah, no, I don't know. I there's something about it where like I just really like the powerlessness. I don't know if anyone's watched Ipman. And
Yes.
it's the
Sounds like a
wonderful
Digimon.
thing. It's a martial arts film.
Donnie Yen, baby.
Donnie Yen, and it happens during like one of the world wars. And one of the great things that he's like the greatest martial arts in his town. And so this impeding army comes in, and he beats up everybody. He literally beats up everybody. But that doesn't stop the fact that war is going on. That with all his fists, that there's nothing he can do about it. And so that's the thing what I liked about the last episode so much. It's probably one of my favorite episodes because with Constantine, all like Papa Midnight fucking trying to kill him, all these things happening, like he still isn't really able to find justice for the people that like were victim to this fucking crazy Cajun dude.
Yeah.
Like glamoring that dead body though. When Papa Midnight comes in,
Was it good for you?
it was good. Like I was not ready for like that sounded not the way I'm not into that. Necromancers are fine, but not my thing. But yeah, it like the way that panned out, I was like, what is his plan here? And then when it came together, I was like, of course you did. You beautiful chef's kiss genius. Like I love you, you asshole. You're great.
Beautiful British.
What?
We can go on
Beautiful
for
bastard.
all day.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into favorite characters?
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll do 2, and I feel like Constantine has to be taken off the table just because it's the title character.
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
He's the
Okay,
guy.
so 2 characters that aren't Constantine. Constantine is already everyone gets a Constantine.
Okay.
2, Josh. 2.
2.
No runner-ups. 2.
No, what I love about this show is that it has such
2 characters.
wonderful characters. I'm gonna give my 2. God. But it has wonderful characters that are easy to like, even side characters that you're like, oh, that's a wonderful like character to see. Anyway, my 2 favorites
I was going to say,
are
let's
Jim
hear all the
Corrigan.
characters that aren't going to be his number 2, but he has to just bring them up anyway.
No.
Chim Jorrigan.
Wow.
Jim Corrigan.
Jorrigan. I like that.
That is one character that I in the fantasy world, it would have been awesome to just see that unfold. I love the connection
Spectre
with
and
him and Zed, that kind of thing. And then my next one is Richie Simpson. I love Jeremy Davies.
What else is he
really
in?
good.
What else is he in?
Lost, first of all.
He was in Lost. He was in a show called Justified.
Okay,
for
because
those
his
of you
face
who
is
don't
so
know,
familiar for me. I'm like, I know
He's
He
in one
also
of the-
voices Balder in the new God of War,
Oh.
Yeah.
who's like one of the big baddies. And I was watching clips of the other night. And I was like, that sounds a lot like Jeremy Davies. And I looked it up and I was like, it's because it is.
Huh.
Because
Hilarious.
He was great on Lost. He's my favorite character on Lost by far.
But I
and John
love,
Locke.
like you were mentioning, Ollie, that one episode where we're kind of exploring his character more, and I just love that actor. Jeremy Davies is just.
I love that he
so
took
good.
on a very Matthew McConaughey
Oh yeah,
type accent for this.
yeah.
I loved it. It really worked.
But I mean, a shout out to Harold Perrineau, just because he is an amazing actor.
Oh yeah.
Look at Oz. If you get a chance to watch Oz, like.
Oh yeah.
We get
I
it
didn't
one
say a
right,
favorite
so.
character, Tom. I'm just doing a shout out of an actor.
Also, shout out Zed, and also I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you, Josh. I'm kidding. Who wants to go next?
Do it a
Ali.
lot.
I will, because Ali, go ahead.
I love Jeremy Davies as well. So that's like number one for me.
Richie Simpson is for you.
Richie Simpson, and then Zed. Like Bay for days. You know,
Bay for days.
she that, and also she very strong female character. What can I say?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I
That's the
thought she brought
criteria.
a really great energy to the trio, and
Yeah, it's a
she-
good switch,
She
right?
kept things kind of upbeat and sort of moving.
Yeah,
So it's
I feel like it could have been very depressing if it was just John and Chaz, because Chaz is
Yeah.
like, my marriage has fallen apart, and John is like, tough luck, mate. My whole life and my soul have fallen apart. Ugh. And then there's Zed, who's like, I draw. It's scary, but it's fine. Hi, friends.
And I see things.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like she lightens the mood a lot.
Pennies from heaven.
Wow.
Kaylin?
I was hoping Corey was gonna go because I'm still
Well, too
torn
bad.
between a couple.
No. Two.
Two. I know.
You knew this was coming. We
I
always
did.
do it.
I know.
It's a segment of the show.
I know.
Every episode.
It doesn't make it any easier to know something is coming. I do really enjoy Chaz a lot. I think Chaz and Jim Corrigan are probably my favorites.
Cool. Dope.
But I like shout out to not like a character, but the concept
The house.
of. Well, I love the fucking house, but I already said that. No, the three girls in the waiting man.
Oh yeah.
The three girls, like the concept of their like
Mine don't matter.
siren song ability as ghosts who are also like not actually themselves. Like I really enjoyed that concept of like we're spirits.
But also,
and
I do
we're
kind of like
sirens,
their
but we're-
wedding ring too.
Oh God, that was terrifying.
Like
Very
they're-
upsetting.
It reminds me of Fables because in The Wolf Among Us, there's a character who has a red ribbon around her neck.
Oh yeah,
If you
yeah,
take
yeah.
that off, they get
Head falls off.
decapitated. Yeah, which is I love that thing because it's based off a little fairy tale book. But
Grimm?
The Grimm fairy tale book.
Yeah.
It's not a little one. It's literally what wrote fairy tale. The two guys.
You know.
And I'm related to them, Tom. So thanks.
Wait,
it's
what?
a little one. You could do
Yeah,
you could do power
directly related to
fairytale.
one of the Grimm brothers, like my great grandpa, whatever, how many times back
You could
on my
I'm
dad's
sorry.
side.
How have you never brought this up before?
Because it's like 10 generations back or something like that. I don't know what it
It's
is.
kind of like how I'm probably related to Kangaskhan. Khan.
No,
No.
it's that I am. I have a
I know.
direct
I'm just
family
saying
tree.
it's like it's so far in the back. That's why.
Oh yeah, sure.
Jeez, man, I'm not
Wow.
trying to belittle it. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of upset you said that because obviously I had John Constantine written down as my favorite, so
Of
I had to
course.
change that when you changed the rules.
Uh-huh.
And I said I wrote down the house as a character. And you made a joke, and I was like, if you go back and watch the video, I'm kind of like, okay. I crossed out John and I wrote the house.
That
Well,
the house
And I
is
guess by proxy,
really cool.
Jacob is it Jacob? Jacob?
I don't know. Jasper's
Jasper.
house?
What's Jasper? Thank you. But yeah, the house and Jasper, I think they're fantastic. I
just
mean,
gonna
what
over
solidified
here.
that for me was obviously the abyss and the gravity
the mirror.
trap. But like John sitting in front of the mirror with his friend and sharing a drink and kind of like, what's the point of having a mirror that shows you the past if you can't wallow in it every once in a while? And I was like, all
Yeah.
right, dope. I get it.
I love that concept.
And then Richie Simpson is my second favorite.
What? Wow,
I
I'm
can't
so
believe
surprised.
that I accidentally
It was
trashed.
between Richie and Manny, and I think if we had got to see more of Manny's arc play out, it would have been Manny with number one with a bullet. But
I see a thought from
Richie-
Ali brewing.
Tom.
Richie's
Is it another Quan? Sorry.
No, it's about Richie. You might recognize him from the Arrowverse as Dr. John Deegan. He's
yeah,
in, like, a
no,
bunch
and
of
he's also in
different episodes.
Lucifer apparently too.
Oh, he's just
But
everywhere.
Yeah.
what solidified it for me was that last episode where he didn't want to leave and he found some sort of peace, but ultimately kind of decided, it's not real, and came back and started, threw the
Learned.
tape recorder away for his lectures and started living his life after realizing that, like, you know what, I could have it way worse than I do now, and I have the power to,
Well, like
to
what he
change
says
other
after,
people's
he's
lives.
like, we almost like need sorrow in our lives in a weird way.
Man,
do.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, it's Richie as my second. The house and Richie.
My two are first is gonna be Chaz. Second one's gonna be Manny. I like
those
Chaz.
are solid Tom choices.
They're not. I don't pick the chill guys with the beard. Okay.
I know.
But
I did. Richie's not chill.
Richie's trying to be.
pretty
He's on all
unchill.
sorts of narcotics.
Richie, we're all not picking what we normally pick. But no,
I don't
Chaz.
think there was a chill old white guy with a beard.
Who Chaz?
I don't think there is.
Yeah,
one.
there's not a chill white guy
You're
with a
saying
beard
that
just
Felix
in the
Faust
show.
wasn't chill? I'm
He's
kidding.
not. No,
No.
Tom. No.
I actually.
He also
I
doesn't
love-
have a beard.
I
He doesn't
love
have a
that.
beard. He
I
has
love
no
Felix
chill.
Faust too as a DC villain. Like, even though he's like not the strongest sorcerer, he does get start a lot of problems. But anyways, yeah, Chaz, he's just he's a little John. He's like there as like an emotional, moral place, but also like he's willing to take the bullet because he can. But also
And,
like it's not
finding out why he has that drive to help John after everything is heartbreaking.
and that's the thing where it's like it's not for
book that he
okay, well he can
keeps?
kill him, so fuck it.
Oh.
People aren't made out of rubber. It's where like, it hurts him every time, but he knows what he has to do.
Does it hurt every time?
Excruciating.
He's like a delightful Wolverine.
That's a Wolverine reference, by the way.
And when the ex-wife
Season.
learns like of his plight and is just kind of like,
Hasn't she always known though? She's like
She did, but
known,
then
She
she
says
hasn't
it. She
seen
said
it.
knowing it and seeing it are two different
There
things.
it is. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
when she gets the full connect, and the book that he keeps and
Yeah.
he's showing it to his daughter, like, oh
Yeah.
my,
Yeah.
So sweet.
And so Manny, I just kind of like just because I do kind of like that angel intervention. It's like it's Castiel from Supernatural.
oh yeah,
Who's just there, but they don't understand the human condition, and when they do, they kind of learn a little bit more. But also, it's that there are rules and there's laws, and we have to abide by them. But also,
We can't directly influence.
we can't
but I
directly
can
influence.
advise you.
But then when he fights Imogen, it's like, yeah, I can. It's like, oh,
well, because that's beyond, right? That's beyond the human
yeah.
world. And I think that's where he can. Oh, yeah, he's still gonna get in trouble for it.
But also just in terms of like what I think Ollie kind of talked about in terms of a structure, like he kind of always provided that reminder of like the rising darkness is coming. Even though we're going around the country and fighting off these small things, these
It's
are
getting worse and
all
worse.
a reminder that the darkness is getting stronger. And in Volce and all these other creatures that don't normally come out of here like are coming. So I was like, I like that.
I want to say one thing about Chaz real quick. When you see him die that first time and you don't know,
Yeah.
I think it's with the power line, right?
yeah.
With the snake power line, yeah.
And it like goes right through him, and then he's back next episode. And you're like,
You're like,
the
excuse me?
fuck?
When you watch it,
They don't explain it right away, which I love.
You feel like it's a retcon. You feel like, oh, don't worry about the pilot, and you're like, okay.
But then
This is not the pilot you're looking for.
But then you learn why, and you're like,
you learn why, like, oh, they just killed the Shia LaBeouf version. Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
I also
Josh?
want to like a shout out to the actor William Mapother. He played Jacob Shaw in that episode that we were talking about with
man,
Richie.
he was
yeah.
terrifying.
He was
There's
terrifying.
a lot of stuff.
Like a calm, terrifying.
Calm,
that I
terrifying
just-
is the worst.
Merci
Yeah.
beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Anyway,
So now we get to qualms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ollie, since you
I
kind
laid
of
out
gave
mine.
one out, do you want to do your second one?
Sure, yeah. My other one, where was it? I would say mostly it was I kind of felt a little too much of the networkingness as far as like them having to be safe in some places. I actually
Oh.
wanted it to be
More.
much
HBO
darker. And yeah,
An
because
HBO
like
They did
there
too.
would be every now and like like what I mean about the balances every now and again it would go there right in certain ways, but then it felt very restrained still.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to just go like, hard into the
Unadulterated.
paint. Yeah, I mean,
Like what
'cause
they
it's
started to do at the end when they didn't give a fuck about
right
the network anymore.
and like this might be blasphemous, but like I almost want maybe just the style or it's different budget, different whole world, but the film version almost felt like darker and grittier than
Oh yeah.
the show.
I mean,
Oh,
it
by
was.
far.
Yeah, so that was
it wasn't
I was
Constantine,
hoping,
but it was definitely darker.
okay, so that's
Yeah.
maybe that's just my like skewed expectation of the show, but based on the movie, but that like for the subject matter and for like what was going on, I wanted more like demon visuals and things like that, but that was my only other thing of like which is a good point because I just wanted more.
You want
I
more,
wanted them
yeah.
to explore more and show me more of
Yeah.
hell and what's going on and all that stuff, and I wanted more of that to bleed through into because I'll admit it kind of felt like the like level of mystery was like kind of like supernatural level, right? Of like kind of like monster of the week, like one guy's possessed, let's fix that. But
Going
it's like
off-
that's TV, that's budgets at play.
Mhm.
So I totally get that. But I wanted, for like DC's Constantine, like to kind of want
Yeah.
coming after the movie, I wanted them to kind of like really
It's the same kind of qualm I had with the Firefly TV show,
Mm.
where I was like, I can definitely see these budgetary restrictions, and it's not
Great.
pleasing me.
But
It's,
no,
it's ruining a bit
in-
of the immersion. Yeah.
in the headcanon of like again going with supernatural like as like the analogous, like there is totally an episode or a season that starts out with Constantine's in hell because he
Yeah.
paid like the ultimate price in the last season.
I've seen the first half of season 1 of Supernatural. So that's like I have some reference for that. And like it never took away from the show. It was always like I said, like this always surprised me with the quality and the like the production quality that it brought. But I like as far as like what storylines to follow, what kind of things to explore, I was hoping for more like
I
variety.
can't
and
recommend
stuff
our
like that.
audience enough, and especially you, Ali. Everyone's like, I think, expecting WandaVision to be like this crazy weird thing. I was like, Supernatural did an episode about that kind of stuff like
Mhm.
3 years ago, and it was when they just like discovered the metaverse, and it was just like every single thing that all the audience members had talked about, like all came to true. It came true, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Supernatural is one of those shows that like it was so aware of their audience, and they wrote for the audience, and like Constantine can do that. Constantine can have that
Mhm.
same level of like.
Absolutely.
We can break the fourth wall if we need to. We can go into another dimension if we need to. We can
Yeah.
have him connect with like the supernatural people and be like, what are your guys' demons like? And they're like, what? And then it's like they just go to the
Yeah.
Impala and that's
I'm with you on that, Ollie. I mean, obviously the showrunners felt that way because they even wrote the bit in Arrow where they're like, "Give me the fucking peacock feather, like fuck you guys
Yeah.
for putting so many restrictions on it." Which is why I am with Tom and hoping that HBO picks it up because then I
Yeah.
think they could really tell. Because
There's a lot to
Constantine is a
tell.
very adult R-rated thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the comics, there's heroin and
Mhm,
there's
yeah.
like
substance.
lung
yeah,
cancer and
yeah.
people getting like beheaded and shit like
And-
that.
and they-
So-
Again, skewed because I did just come off of watching season 2 of The Boys.
Right.
Right. But no, that is kind of what it is. It's not a comic book for kids. Hellblazer.
Right. Exactly.
But
It's there's alcohol, there's cigarettes,
And
there's
like the thing about like where
adult relationships.
one of the last
Exactly,
episodes leaves off on is with Zed finding out she has a tumor in her
Mhm.
head, and I think there's a whole episode where they're just talking about that. They're just talking about her life and the cost of being with John Constantine and how it's always a death sentence that you can't afford. Like they did that one time in Supernatural where it was just about the father's death. And it was just a wonderful episode. Just like the whole episode is just about grief and learning how to let go. But I feel like what they would in a dream sequence, I think it would be like this: HBO Max Constantine TV show. They act as if the original show never really happened,
Mhm.
and then they sprinkle it in like how Rebels sprinkled in Clone Wars plot lines into the
Right.
show. So Dave Filoni was like,
Mm.
"I'm going to do a new show and still continue the storylines." And you're like, how did you do this? This is wild.
That would be the way to go. Yeah. That would be
Um,
awesome.
Kate,
but bring back Matt Ryan, please.
Please.
Yes.
I'm
no
telling
one
you,
else.
it's
There's
a
no one else.
Constantine.
There's no one else.
It's a Constantine and Swamp Thing episode. It's Constantine and Swamp Thing show.
That would be epic.
And
And for people being like, well, maybe he's too old now. Fuck, like what I said before, he ages in real time,
and he
dude.
still voices the character
human,
now. Like
ultimately.
this year, 2020, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War was voiced by Matt Ryan. And it's
Y'all go
it's-
watch that.
It's such a great movie. It's like
even Dana,
one of-
who doesn't really like animated action-y cartoons, was like in it. She was like, holy that was wild.
anyways,
intense.
qualms. Who's got qualms? Give me your qualms.
For me,
No
it
consequence.
was like I said earlier, it felt a little slow. Like in the first, like they're giving you so many things that they're like, we're
Exposition.
not explaining it. Here are the things we will explain. Here's some things we're not going to explain. You have to keep watching if you want to find out. And like, while it was cool to find out what they were, the payoff was there. It still like made me notice it a little too much, in a not as fun way. Because sometimes it's fun to be like, oh, I don't know what that is. What is that? But this one was like no, come on.
This is
wait.
the smoking gun. You're going to see it in the third act.
Yeah, and I was like, well, but it wasn't like a fun smoking gun. It was like I don't know how else to describe it, but it was like
I think that's
like-
I think the best
like you're
version
going
of
to
it is
Disneyland.
like the wife with the miners, and you see the scar on her, and then you just see a close up, and then never talk about it. Never talk about it. And then at the very end, Constantine's like, "You say you can never get rid of the mud or the oil." Blah, blah.
That's
wow,
kind of-
none of that was English. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a little related to my qualm is kind of piggybacking a little bit is that I found that not all the time, but oftentimes the wrap up or the climax of the episode was very like almost anticlimactic. Where it's like it was
Climactic.
there was a coincidental solution of like, oh, there's this. Oh, I just happen to have this or this kind of thing. Like that. There are a few episodes that felt like that.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, well, there was no danger.
Oh, there's an
It
anti-demon.
did feel very like
what?
he kind of was. The house was like, go gadget, ancient artifact. Like
Hermione's bag.
you're just like,
You should read the comics.
I'm sure it's like that. That's not really a qualm, but it was more of like that's kind of how things
there's-
happened. It was just like convenience.
Structure.
But
Any other qualms, Josh or Caitlin?
it
Wrong
was a little.
network.
Well, it was Jasper's house, and they're all deeply connected to Jasper's past. So it's all coming together.
This is another
Nothing's
bad idea, Ollie.
coincidence. What?
I'm kidding.
No, it's a perfect idea. How dare you?
No, I'm saying that's the explanation.
Yeah. Things were a little like. This isn't. I shouldn't even say this as a qualm then, because things were a little cheesy, but in a way that like was great. So, I had noticed.
It's an observation.
Yeah, an observation.
I'm going to give you
'Cause,
the
like,
same shit that I give Josh. So you're mentioning a qualm that's not a qualm.
Yeah. So
Tom just
it
likes to
was
give
like
people
he was
shit.
getting like the blood spatter and stuff, which I know like blood on a set is always a thing. And especially if they're dealing with network restrictions, they have to be very careful
Mhm.
about how gory they're making something or whatever. But some of it was just like
color of the blood
so
and all that.
Don't
well
talk about your future network like that,
contained.
Caitlin.
Huh?
Don't talk about your future job opportunities like that, Caitlin.
Well, it was just like, so he like had murdered someone, and then there was like a weep of like blood that was obviously like squirted on him out of a bottle, and you're just like,
Oh, like when he
like
possessed by
ravaged
demon.
the
Oh, yeah.
prison inmates,
Yeah.
and he came out
He had,
with like a little weep of like blood on
it
his
looks
shirt.
like they took a squirt gun of blood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was definitely
Uh,
one moment where he kills two people and then the door is closed, but then you can see like you can
Oh,
just
the
see the
three
force
little-
of like the it just put it,
But
like
Kaylee, you
someone
know
just
the
dumped
answer.
a bucket, and I was like, I know
If
that
the
prop.
answer
I
would
see
be
that.
he would walk out with a red shirt, and they can't have that on network television.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So
be
it's one of
dripping.
those things where it's not actually like a qualm. It's just like
Now HBO would let
I was
him
gonna
do
say
that.
it's like
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the
I
answer
was
to
gonna
all the
say.
qualms is put on HBO Max. Jason Kilar, I know you're listening, bro. We've been tweeting at it. I see you, baby.
Seriously, in that scene, John would have come out head to toe red.
I would love that. Do that.
But NBC was like, but the families.
But
this isn't a family show.
But this plays
Watch
right
the-
after
Did I-
This Is Us.
Question.
We can't do that.
I'm pretty sure I heard this, but I want to make sure. In one scene, I can't remember if it's the first or second episode, he says fuck off, right?
No, he's sawed off.
Sod.
Sawed off.
Yeah.
Wow,
He
I
says
heard a
sod
fuck and
a
a
lot.
cuh.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again.
That's how they get by with saying it. And if they can say, because sod doesn't mean anything here.
Yeah.
Frack you.
Sawed off.
Pathetic sod.
Frickle frack. Dingle dang.
No, Caitlin. For me, qualms would typically just be Don't put it on fucking Fridays at 8 p.m. on
and
NBC.
get it
God
canceled.
There's my
damn it.
qualm. It was canceled
programming.
halfway through its original run.
That is the realest qualm,
At
though.
least let it have its 26 episodes.
Please.
And maybe
that's the
my
thing.
qualm wouldn't be a qualm because maybe this is when the story would have like.
Yeah,
Really-
and that's the thing where it's like if we got the 26 episodes, my always kind of like requirement for like a show that I really enjoy, and this you could do this for HBO, you could do this for 30-minute multicams, and you could do it for 1 hour TV dramas. You just make one episode dedicated to one character, and I wanted that to happen for everyone, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like they did one kind of for Zed, they did one for Chaz for sure. They didn't do really one for Manny, which I don't think it would really lend itself for the story. But one for Constantine, just kind of
Should have
like
one for John. I was gonna say.
it'd be
Guys,
great.
what if we started recording this episode and 20 minutes in, someone came in and was like, you no longer have an hour, you have 30 minutes. You're like,
That's why
It
I think
was
with
great,
this
as always.
show, with this show particularly, I think it's really hard to have any qualms. I mean,
Not like
in my
legitimate
opinion,
ones.
but like some of the qualms that we've mentioned are very much. It's like a
The
disservice, so to speak, to the show because they were like I love that example
lot of
that
it's
you
the
just
network
said
qualms.
of like we went into this thinking we had 90 minutes and then somebody goes, no, you only have half an hour. Everything would change.
It's
We don't know what we could
but
have.
I think all these
yeah.
qualms still stand. Like that's all network decision
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
I mean, that's why there's a lot of people who are like, oh, the Snyder Cut shouldn't exist or the Snyder Cut shouldn't be a thing because we already saw the movie. And it's like,
Yeah.
but no, you didn't. It's like
like
oh, we
the
already saw
power of
Constantine the show.
editing.
It's like, but no, you didn't. You didn't see the 26 episodes that the showrunner had to
Release the Matt Ryan cut.
outline. outline it all
Hashtag
out.
release the Matt Ryan cut. HBO Max. They're
HBO
HBO
Max.
Max. I'm
Naked,
telling you,
covered in blood
HBO
dancing, I
Max.
think.
You guys gotta. Anyways, I'm done with qualms. Corey's got no
Instead of
qualms.
him being nude and hidden by a chandelier, the chandelier's just edited out, and you're just nude Hellblazer.
HBO,
I would say for
please.
sure. My one thing is dick.
do it in the
immediately
comics.
a dick. Like a first
Yeah.
frame. You
That's
see
what I'm
just
saying, yeah,
dick
just
walking towards camera. It's like
nothing in the way.
I'm about it. So ratings. Who's first?
Constantine.
Wow.
On HBO Max this fall.
Coming to
Everyone?
Skinamax.
Petition?
I broke my
Petition?
pen.
Skin Max.
The hell fucker. I'm just gonna go ahead. Go ahead, Josh. Josh is first, right?
I can go first. It doesn't matter. I think everyone kind of knows my opinion of this, except for some off acting by some folks. I gave this a 4.9.
4.9.
4.9. It was between 4.8 4. I'll say 4.85.
Nope.
Right in the middle.
You round down. So it's
you round
4.8.
up.
Because the only way this could get a 5 is if it had a full season.
Yeah. It feels wrong.
Make
I-
NBC really
It feels
feel the pain.
wrong to rate this.
Well, I
but
would say this. Think
have
about it like
to.
this. It's a 4.9, and that's higher than you've rated some other TV series.
That are completed. Yeah.
Uh,
What do you, Joss
hinting at?
Whedon?
Are you
Sorry.
hinting at something? Oh, yeah.
um,
But I have my own personal issues with Joss.
Yo.
This league.
I am.
Like a leaf in the wind.
Josh has started
4.8.
like 4 times.
4.8 for
4.8.
Josh.
4.8.
Who's next?
4.8.
I think I'm last,
Tom?
right?
Caitlin.
It's you.
No, we're going alphabetical.
When did that happen?
No, Tom, you have less votes.
Yeah,
So
buddy.
you're actually next.
You're next.
Oh, shit,
I
okay.
remembered from the beginning of the show, you bunghole.
Yeah, let me be in charge of that like you asked me to be.
Yeah. I will give this a 4.3. Solid 4.3.
Wonder who our grump is.
Wow.
You
don't
and
know,
Ollie
Caitlin.
haven't
Now
gone
you
yet.
go.
What are you talking about?
Me?
Caitlin.
I say
last.
That's why I was like, me?
a 4.8.
4.8.
I have- I've-
Can I
kind of
be
the-
real with you, Caitlin?
yeah.
Before you said your answer, I wrote a 4 down next to it.
Like just solid.
I love you,
4,
but
or-
I can't remember a time you gave something a 3 point something.
It's been very, very seldom.
I didn't mean to, but I realized I was writing 4 point and just wait.
Yeah, no,
wish I
that's
enjoyed
correct,
things as
though.
much as you do, Caitlin.
It's so rare for me to go below 4
Yeah.
because I base my score completely off of my entertainment value.
Sure.
And like
Yeah.
for me,
I didn't mean that as an insult. I
no,
think
no, no,
it's very
no.
nice.
It's just I don't give a care.
I just realized I was doing it partway through.
Okay,
I was like,
Caitlin, stop
That's fine.
NBCing yourself. You could cuss every once in a while.
I'm more entertained by saying
Sod
don't
off,
give a
Tom.
care. Yeah. Corey.
My
Thanks.
fucking
Ollie.
score
Yeah, do it.
is,
Ollie, hit
is a 4.3.
Oh shit!
Whoa.
Two grumps.
It happened.
In a pod, having
my
sex.
goodness.
Fucking.
Can I change my
Sod.
to 4.2?
No.
I no longer want to be in this pod.
Ollie and Tom.
Go higher.
Sitting in a tree.
I'll let you go to a 4.4. How's that sound?
F-I-G-H-T-I-N-G.
Fighting? No.
What?
I was going to say
If you really want to punish him.
Sucking.
Nope.
So we got 2 grumps. That means we got a lot of shout outs to
Oh.
do. We actually had shout out to the Nerd Nation. This is the most votes we've had on a
Hell yeah.
Guess That Grump poll in quite some time.
Ooh.
So for Ali, we have Dana P, Mitchell G, and Mora.
And Tom.
Wow.
No votes for Tom.
No, I voted for Ali, so
Voted for
I
you.
get a shot.
He
Wow.
gets
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about the Nerd on
I know,
Nation.
the more important people.
No one voted for you on there
I mean,
Wow.
the thing is, like, again, I like.
because it's DC blah.
Yeah,
I
I
was
like
gonna
a
say,
lot
they
of
were like,
things,
he's
but
a
I could
DC
still be
guy.
like, oh yeah, I'll put it there. That's fine. That's good. I want another season, baby. I'm here. I'm supporting. I'll drop the money. You know how many Snyder shirts I got? Anyways,
More than one?
Tom, you want to just write it with me and we'll just send it to
There
him?
you go.
Y'all,
David Esquire, here you go.
Did your
This
work
was-
for you.
Please do
Just
that.
write the other 13
I'm gonna
episodes.
tweet at-
give us just can you give us just 10 grand each?
I'm gonna give Jason. I'm a DM. I'm gonna slip in
You get
Jason
more than
Keeler's DMs.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, man, here's the spec right here. Don't
Josh,
don't
I'm
thank
saying
me.
if they're trying to save money, we're cheap.
Oh,
We want the show.
yeah.
I'm gonna do it like a
We
crack
have green
dealer.
screens.
I'm gonna do it like a
We have
crack
like
dealer.
3 or 4 green screens.
Taste is for free, but later on you gotta
Yeah,
you gotta
we'll
pay.
we'll write maybe we'll write the first 5 episodes for free. Then you got to start paying us.
There
a
you
lot more
go. Look at
I
that.
know After Effects, and Tom can cut it.
than that. Exactly. I'll edit it. Tom
I
directs.
can do all the
You-
There you
ADR.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
All
do
of
the
it for
special effects.
everyone.
Done.
Matt Ryan.
That's it.
Sing us out, Josh.
Josh will do the music. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Really great.
Awesome. Everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. If you have seen Constantine, what did you think? What are your
Was it
thoughts
good?
about the show?
What's your rating?
Boom Night. Let
What's-
us know what you think.
what is your ratings? But yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you are new to the show, welcome. Check out our website, nerdon.tv. It has all the information of all of the stuff that we do. We create a lot of content and do a lot of different things on YouTube, Twitch. Yeah, there's lots of fun stuff going on over there. And we just redid our website a little bit to make it a little easier for you to just click and play. And then all of our social media is Nerd On TV. Twitch is just Nerd On, but everything else, Nerd On TV. Do check it out. Share us with your friends and your family. That's how you get the word out. Guerrilla marketing. Tell your friends.
Tell
Listen
your
to Nerd
enemies.
On the
Tell your
podcast.
demons.
Yeah, tell your
Go
demons.
to the zoo. Tell the gorillas. Tell them to market for us.
Wow.
Yeah,
They might.
exactly.
They
if you
just
stop-
Instead of flinging shit, they just
they
fling
fling
fling.
shit with
Nerd
their
on
sticker on
stickers.
it.
do stop by, rate and review us wherever you listen, and consider
guys.
joining the Nerd On Nation.
guys.
I'm still talking.
I know. But
Shut
you
up,
brought
Caitlin.
Reviews and ratings. So
Let
like-
me just finish the thought.
Okay.
Do consider joining the Nerd On Nation. It does help us to grow and be the best that we can be. But Caitlin, what is a review like?
Now talk, Caitlin. I'm kidding.
So when it's like a nice summer day
Mm-hmm.
and you've been inside and you've been in like the AC and like, you're feeling all right, but then you
Did I
open
cream
the
myself yet?
door and that summer breeze washes over you and you step out into the sun and it warms your skin and you feel all prickly and delightful and a breeze comes in and brushes your hair off your shoulder. That's what getting a review and rating is like. It's
Yeah.
And
so
then someone
refreshing.
gives you a pie.
And then someone hands you pie.
I
And
don't
you're
like being
"Oh,
pricked."
man, I would love this pie on this beautiful summer breezy day. Thank you so much. That is how we feel. So
Yeah.
You're gonna hand me a hot pie. I'm gonna drop it
We,
because it's gonna
we
burn my hand.
screenshot them and send them to each other. And
Little
it's
do
a
you
good
know
time.
you're wearing oven mitts. Ollie, you're wearing
oven mitts, oven mitts. You came prepared.
and a
So you
kiss
can
the
hold the
cook
pie.
apron.
You came out of your house with oven mitts on. Someone's handing you a pie. You're like,
Caitlin,
wow.
speak for
What's
yourself. It
going
just
on
gives
out
me a
here?
boner. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Tom, if people were interested in reading any Hellblazer comics, is there somewhere they could go for that?
Yo, you know what's my favorite thing to do during these quarantine times is read some
It's a
comic
family show.
books.
Okay.
Sometimes is I can't get to my local comic book store because they have different hours. But if you got a digital device such as like an iPad or a Kindle or even an iPhone, you can use nerdon.tv/comicsology to read your favorite comic books such as Hellblazer, like what this TV Constantine show is based off of.
How do I spell backslash?
Backslash. In all honesty, I think I started using backslash because of LA. It's like how LA calls freeways the, and it's just
freeway?
slash.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Slash comicsology. And if you do,
forward slashes in your
it helps
URLs.
us.
It does.
No one
You're a
uses
coder.
fucking /. So
I mean, honestly, on our website, there is a section of all of the places that you can shop and help us, including Amazon, Newegg, Comicsology.
Get
a lot
your
of really
merch
great places.
on.
Yeah, get your merch on.
holidays
your
is coming up.
swag
If you're thinking
in.
about buying stuff, just make one more stop at the website and then do the support and then go shop through there, baby.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yes. I'm telling you.
I'm telling
but
y'all.
yeah, that has been our episode. Thank you so much for listening. You know the drill. As always, nerd on.
Nerd on, mate.
Ending broadcast.